Hi everyone, my name's Leslie Armstrong and I'm the Central Coast Regional AECG President, plus life member of the New South Wales AECG. We've just landed in wonderful Adelaide for the Natsiec conference for 2018 to have a look at the great things they're doing for Aboriginal education.
So I really liked embedding Aboriginal perspectives in science with Joe. He was fantastic. Did a really good session and boiling something down to whether Aboriginals could boil water or not, whether they had the vessels or the ability to do so. So just breaking that down and seeing the different views of non-Aboriginal people, that was fascinating. I also loved Dr. Chris Matthews with his maths. I might actually learn something from that. It was really good. So, Kat, what about you?
I really liked Dr. Chris Matthews' session from ATSIMA, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Mathematical Alliance. I really liked how he broke down those patterns and algebra strand of the mathematical KLA, and how it's quite easy for teachers to explain in an Aboriginal context, so I really enjoyed that. I also really liked Marcia Langton's presentation yesterday, which is kind of in line with what Joe Sambaho was doing. They actually worked together on that project with Cara around the Australian curriculum, science curriculum, and how they're going to align Aboriginal histories and cultures within that around fire, water and astronomy. So that was pretty good. One of the sessions I went to this morning was the STEM leadership project for girls. I thought that was really good, and that's with the trackers, trying to move the girls from starting with them in year 11 and 12 and moving them into uni and looking at employment.
A lot of the different areas. I've got a lot of good ideas, but I've got to say I'm biased because I think New South Wales AECG are just too deadly up against all these other fellas. We've got too many good programs going for us, which we've got in our favour. So that's a big bonus for us, that I believe. And I think a lot of these other fellas could strengthen their communities if they took on board some of the programs that we've got up and running.
This is my first National Aboriginal Education Conference that I've been to, and I find it very interesting. The first session I went into was the session of the three operating AECGs, South Australia, Victoria and New South Wales. I found that very interesting, and it was one of the programs that I liked, especially the part when Auntie Ruth gets up and she questions, and I think we need people like that, our people, to stand up and question and ask questions. So I say, good on you, Auntie Ruth. Keep up the good work.
I'm a firm believer in what we're all trying to do in the states, and I think at a national level it's sad that the government's cut back funding for these important organisations for Aboriginal people to have their say in the education. And as most of us know, how important it is for education for our children and our future leaders of our country to stand up and take their rightful place in society. Not only that, I'm hearing from the conference where the young ones, the academic, the ones who with the intelligence and the wisdom that they will acquire more over the years, are learning from our elders. They've got that cultural knowledge to respect and know that it doesn't just happen today or at this conference. It's happened 70 odd years or more ago when our people rallied for the rights and the justice for our people. One of the things I liked at the conference, and there's many, more than one, is the STEM camps. I'm a firm believer in those STEM camps for science, technology, engineering and mathematics. If we want to get our children through to be at that level of society, this is the way we need the tool for education. And I just say, please, the funding bodies, don't cut back the AECGs anymore. They're important to us as Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people for our well-being and to make sure that our cultures are taught, because I don't believe you can have one without the other. At this conference, there's one thing I really must say. I believe we're at a higher level now of our speakers, because they're saying we've been doctors, we're going to be lawyers, we're science and technology. So this is a level that I've really noticed at this particular conference. We've really gone up the extra rung of the ladder, and I think we can only go further, providing to the government don't cut back the funds that allow these conferences to take place.
I've enjoyed the workshops with the young people speaking, and I said talk about the racism that we went to yesterday, and just showing us how to cope with some racism. Some of the workshops and role play that we did. I was just in a youth forum, and they talked about what will education look like for the next 5 generations. So there was a big discussion around that where we broke into our groups, and it was really hard to say in the next 5 generations, what ICT for the kids. There'll be no pens, and then how to keep our culture going within the education system, and bringing elders in to help to support that, and just the overall experience with all the the guest speakers that have been up there, and just to take a lot away. It's important that we take all this back to our community, but to people know that what we can look forward to down the track, and what we can do to help our kids and our community.
It's been really refreshing coming to the Natsiec conference and to know that we as a collective group are part of the advancement of Aboriginal education in this country, and to know that there are people fighting alongside with us at the very top level. So that's been refreshing, because I think sometimes we can get bogged down at the grassroots level. So it's really empowering to know that there are people fighting across the board, and I think the conference has been a reminder of that. This morning I really enjoyed listening to the keynote presenters of the youth, because quite often we don't get to hear their perspectives surrounding education. So it was really nice and refreshing to hear what they have to say and their thoughts and their views about education, because they are our future leaders.